Bonjour classe, aujourd'hui on va parler de l'heure, du temps. We're going to be talking about time today. So before we can get to the fancier things about going to the train station, buying train tickets, you need to know how to tell the time so that you can say, I want a ticket at 9 o'clock, for example. So it's going to be very important that we know the time. So the question, la question, c'est quelle heure est-il? Quelle heure est-il? What time is it? Quelle heure est-il? In order to answer, we say il est. Il est. It is. So the simplest thing that we can do is if it's just an o'clock, so there's no minutes, just at the 00. For example, here it's 8 o'clock. You just say the number of the hour, 8, followed by the word heure. 8 heures. 8 heures. Il est 8 heures. It is 8 o'clock. If it were 7 o'clock, we would say il est 7 heures. If it were 6 o'clock, 6 heures. 5 o'clock, 5 heures. Right? So on and so forth. So here in this example, we see it is 6 o'clock. So we say 6 heures. 6 heures. Just like we said a second ago, 6 heures. But we can also get more specific. So if I want to say it's 6 o'clock in the morning, I would say 6 heures du matin. 6 heures du matin. So matin means morning. 6 heures du matin. 6 o'clock in the morning. If you want to specify that it's 6 o'clock in the evening, you say 6 heures du soir. 6 heures du soir. Remember, we learned how to say bonsoir. Bonsoir is good evening. So soir is evening. 6 heures du soir. 6 o'clock in the evening. We can also stick with the 24-hour clock. So in the 24-hour time system, 6 o'clock in the afternoon or in the evening becomes 18. So we would say 18 heures. Just 18 and then heures. 18 heures. So 6 heures du soir and 18 heures are exactly the same thing. We can just say them in two different ways. If there are any minutes to account for, then we just throw them in right after the heure. So if it were just purely 5 o'clock, we would say 5 heures. But here it's 10 after, so we need to account for these 10 minutes. So we say 5 heures 10. 5 heures 10, 5:10. If it were 5:11, 5 heures 11. 5:12, 5 heures 12. 5:13, 5 heures 13. 5:14, 5 heures 14. Once we get to the 15, we have some other options. So we can continue in the same exact way. 7:15, 7 heures 15. 7:15, 7 heures 15. We could also go with this second option, 7 heures et quart. 7 heures et quart. So this quart means 1/4. 1/4. Et quart. So 15 minutes is a quarter of an hour. So 7 heures et quart, 7 hours and 15 minutes, 7:15. But again, just two ways to say the same thing. 7 heures 15, 7 heures et quart. If it's at the 45-minute mark of the hour, we can again just say 45. So you could say 3 heures 45, 3 heures 45, 3:45. Or we could say 4 heures moins le quart. Moins le quart is minus a quarter. Minus a quarter. So 3:45 is 4 heures moins le quart minus a quarter. 4 o'clock minus a quarter of an hour is 3:45. So different options to say the same thing. 3 heures 45, 4 heures moins le quart. If it's at the 30, we can again just say 30. 1 heure 30. 1h30, 1:30. We could also say 1h30, 1h30. So remember last time we did families and we said demi-frère, demi-sœur. So demi is half. Half brother, half sister, half an hour. 1h30 is 1 hour and a half. Half an hour is 30 minutes, so 1h30. Okay, we need to be careful though, because this 1h, if it were afternoon, could become 13, right? 12 plus 1 is 13. So we could say 13h30. 13h30. This is where it gets tricky because 13h30 is 13:30 or 1:30 p.m. and 3:45, as we just saw above, this is 3h, 3h45. 3h. So the pronunciation here is really important. So we need to be very mindful of the way that we're saying the things that we are saying so that we can be clear and communicate. So 3h, 13h. 3h, 13h. So we need to be very careful about that. So just something for you to note throughout with our numbers. We got to watch the pronunciation. Okay, so if it's at the 40 or really anything past the 40. So we just talked about 45 is the next hour, moins le quart. We can do the same thing for 40 or 50 or 55 or really anything past the 40. So again, we can just say the normal way. 9:40 is 9h40. 9h40. 9:40. Or we can say 10h moins 20. 10 minus 20. So this moins is always minus. 10h moins 20. 10 o'clock minus 20 is 9:40. If it were 9:50, we could say 9h50, 9:50. Or we could say 10h moins 10. 10h moins 10. 10 o'clock minus 10. So it's more complicated, but people may choose to say it that way. So I just want you to be aware of these options. Okay, finally, 12 o'clock. So we can say 12h. 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 Easy. We can also refer to 12 o'clock as either noon or midnight. Midi is noon. Midi. Midi, it's the middle of the day, it's noon. Minuit is midnight. Minuit, midnight. So those are our options. So hopefully this explanation made sense. Hard to tell since I cannot see you. I cannot gauge your reaction in any way, but hopefully it was helpful. And so if you have any questions, let me know. And we will head back to the Google Doc to do some kind of practice clock exercises there. So I will meet you over there if no questions.